welcome back to the seed starting workshop for Fitness Farm. This is our fifth and final video, and today we're talking about hardening off, potting up, and transplanting. We're finally outside. So once your plants have true leaves, we talked about that before, where they're not just these little sprout leaves, the first ones to show up, but the leaves that come after that look much more like the plant that it's going to be. Once they have true leaves and the weather is nice, you can bring them outside to harden them off. Well, since hardening off means that these plants need to be a little tougher than they are to withstand being transplanted outside. So in this case, they've lived in the beautiful, perfect 74 degrees, under the perfect light, with the perfect moisture, and now they're going to go outside and they're not quite ready. So hardening off is a series of several days where we just bring the plants outdoors. They get to experience sun, wind, temperature changes, and then at night, before it cools down, we pick them up, take them back inside. So this is a 3 to 7 day process of making sure that these plants are going to be able to survive on their own outdoors. Here, at this time of year, we are in April, so we don't have too many leaves on the trees yet, but we have some green grass, we've got some warmer temperatures, we just hopefully finished our last freeze of the season, and way out there in the distance in the garden, we have some things that we already have seeded that don't mind the cold weather. And in this case, we're going to do some transplanting today on this video of another plant that doesn't mind cold weather, which is cabbage. But before we do, I wanted to mention something real quickly. These look a whole lot different from these, right? So these are in little pots, but they used to be in soil blocks like these guys. They were seeded in something much like this, well, exactly the same. But if we consult our seed packet again, these happen to be zinnias. And in this case, they can suffer from something called transplant shock. So they don't want to be root bound, and they don't want their roots disturbed. Well, when they're in these seed blocks, these soil blocks, the roots can kind of grow together underground, and you have to peel them apart in order to transplant. Most plants don't care, but zinnias do. So what can happen if this zinnia flower experiences transplant shock is these beautiful double flowers that we ordered this particular seed for could revert back to singles. Still pretty, but that's not what we wanted. So before they got too big in these soil blocks, we did something called potting up, which means that we just put some soil in a small 4-inch pot like this. We took our soil block where the roots hadn't popped through yet, and we put it in there and then added some more soil to it. So we were just being really careful to give this enough space that the roots won't be disturbed by the time these go outside to be transplanted. Right now they're just hardening off, but they'll be ready to transplant probably within another week, maybe 2. They'll be big enough, they'll be strong enough after hardening off, and their roots will have gotten through most of this soil to hold it together, but not so much that they're popping out of the bottom of the pot, in which case they could suffer from transplant shock. So here we've got minuet cabbage. Cabbages are tough little plants, they're super hardy, they don't mind at all being cold weather. As you can see, these roots are starting to fill up that soil block and come out the bottom. This is a good time to plant these, to transplant these. They've got true leaves, they've been hardened off, and their roots aren't bound up yet. So we're going to put these in a pot. We have a pot ready out here with some of our potting mix, and it's got a little extra wood chips in it. So as we talked about in the first video, we seeded these with a special seed starting mix, but outside it's pretty light, so you might want something that's heavier. And this is more peat. See how much darker it is? It doesn't have these bits of perlite and vermiculite in there. We're just going to dig a hole to where the top of the seed block is in line with the top of the soil, and simply give it a nice little a nice little hug. We'll put 3 of these in here. This is probably a little closer than they would want to be out in the field, but if, for example, these were flowers and these are in a flower pot for you, then they would be just right, because you'd get a nice density of flowers, plenty of blooms. We would mist those again to water them in, and they'll be perfectly fine during the frost. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to our seed starting workshop. Here at Fitness Farm, we start lots and lots of seeds. There's thousands and thousands of plants in there, and we can't wait to get started transplanting, which we will be doing very, very soon. Please check out our website, fitnessfarm.org, for more video tips and tricks, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.